Hello and welcome back to my channel. On this edition of This Cannot Be in America We Live In beats Head on Wall, we have to talk about ICE. Yeah, I know. Curl up in the fetal position, grab a weighted blanket, and I don't know, get some medically legal marijuana because this one's gonna stress you out. It stresses me out. All right. We have a couple of things to talk about here. I've already talked about the fact that in Georgia, ICE was forcefully sterilizing women, which was bad enough. Now we go to Mississippi, and they are actually torturing, beating, and forcefully using fingerprints of detainees to deport them with. We're actually, in this country, torturing people within our own borders because we want to forcefully detain them. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, according to what is coming out from the ACLU and a couple other places, detainees are being asked to leave voluntarily. There's a paper that they can sign that gives away their right to further fight their immigration status. And a lot of them are up for asylum because they're from Cameroon. Now I can't pronounce it. Cameroon. And if they go back, they're likely to be killed. So they are eligible for asylum, and asylum is what they are seeking. Well, ICE itself is worried that they're about to come under a new administration, so they're trying to deport as many people as they can. And between September and October, yeah, that's right, last month and this month, they have maced people in the face trying to get them to sign. They choked a guy out to nearly unconsciousness trying to force him to sign. They have handcuffed and forcefully used their fingerprints to use that as a signature to forcefully detain them. In fact, they have sent back some that we don't know if they were murdered when they made it back. That is what is happening in our country. We are torturing prisoners or detainees, which in my opinion, I'm just calling them that because that's what the terminology of it is. We are torturing human beings. We are torturing actual human beings because they're afraid that if they lose this election, they won't be able to deport as many Africans. That's literally what they're saying. And no one is doing anything about it. It boggles the mind. Boggles the mind. This cannot be this cannot be allowed. This cannot be acceptable. We cannot go down in history as the people who tortured and then sent people back to their deaths. We are genuinely, I cannot say this enough, talking about human beings, people who are loved, people who have families. And we're sending them to their deaths after torturing them. And it gets worse, guys. It gets worse. It gets so much worse. An article was just released stating that, you remember that 2017 policy where if you came over the border and you had children, even if you were seeking asylum, they took your kids and they separated you at the border? You know how they lost some of those kids? Yeah, well, the kids that they do know where they are, there's over 500 of them that will never see their families again. They've already been deported, and they can't find them. They don't know where they are. They don't know what happened to them. There's also been cases where they've just deported children to nowhere. Literally nowhere. That was a separate reporting, but I'm assuming that's what's going to happen to some of these kids, where they didn't know where the parents were, so they just deported them back to their country and said that's your problem. And we're talking about children, I believe, as young as 6. Deporting them back without their parents, leaving them here without their parents. Over 500 children will never see their parents again. Over 500 parents will never see their children again because this administration decided to enact an inhuman policy of separating children from their parents. What do all of these things have in common? This administration is trying to cause as much terror, fear, and all around awfulness to encourage people not to do their legal right and seek immigration here. Seek asylum. Things that they're entitled to under our Constitution are being stripped from them in the most inhumane way possible. For what reason exactly? Xenophobia? Racism? Bigotry? The Trump administration needs to answer for the crimes that they have committed against these people. The members of ICE that have assaulted women, in their detention centers, that have assaulted children in their detention centers, the ones that are beating detainees, the ones that are forcefully removing them from this country, the ones that split children from their parents, should have to answer legally for what they have done. They should be charged. They should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And we should set an example that this country will not tolerate Nazi-style bigotry. It's that simple. All right, guys, before I break into tears because it sucks, I will see y'all later.